YouTube? Alright, so it's going to be another vlog. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the GTI, what to expect going into the winter here, and prepping that for its debut next race season. I'm a little worried about it. The traction is absolutely horrid, but with that said, it is cold out, so traction is not going to be the best. But being concerned about it, the reason I'm concerned about it is it's only stage 1 and it can't hook up until 3rd gear. I've got the BFI stage 2 dog bone mount insert in there. That definitely helped a little bit. The torque steer isn't as much. It does seem a little more planted, however it still doesn't want to hook up at wide open throttle, so it definitely helped the daily driving part. You know, just leaving the stop and go, you know, especially during turns. That thing always used to want to chirp, and now so it fixed that. It did a lot better job on that. But what I might do going into the winter here is I might find some shit 245 tires, see if those will fit. I just want to grab some cheap ones just to see if they'll fit, because if they don't fit, I'm just going to trash them. If they do fit, we're going to go and use those as kind of like some practice launching and shit like that. Maybe do some burnouts, burn them up. We'll do some cool videos with that. Mainly, I just want to see if 245s will fit without any issue, because I want to try that before I go full radials, because like I said, it's only stage 1. I feel that if I don't dial in these traction issues with, you know, the most daily driven tires that I can, that it's just going to be hell when I go big turbo and all that. I'm gonna try to avoid radials, because I don't want the radials doing too much of the work for me. I want to save those as something that's going to be necessary, like I said, when I go big turbo and go into big power. So we're going to try to dial all that traction issues in. So I'm going to stiffen up the back as much as possible. I just don't want that thing to draw any more drag on the car than it already does. While we're doing that and talking a little bit more about the GTI, I'm going to be running my logs here. I'm trying to really dial in my JB4 officially. It's right about where I want it. So we're going to try to finish that up today, hopefully. Looks like we're going to be maxing out around 26 pounds of boost. So I'm not happy with that. That's pretty good for a JB2, especially without running an intercooler. I don't have a aftermarket intake or anything. I'm gonna plug my my JB4 app in here, see what she's running like on the way there. Now, when I'm doing my logging real quick, so I have a notebook right here. You can see like a bunch of scratch and shit. So what I do is, before I do anything, I write down what my existing tune is at the moment. And then I also write down the parameters that I have everything else set at, like the fuel open loop, the auto shift redux, my boost fail safe, my max boost in first, yada yada yada. So I write all that down first, and then I'll run my logs, see what they come back like. Now, any changes that I'm gonna make going into the next log, or the next changes in general, I'll write down next to it, and I'll put next on it. I'll put last. If it was a good log, I'll keep it. If it wasn't, I'll scratch it and I'll go back to my prior. So that's why I write the last and then the next, so I can see if the changes helped or hurt. If they hurt, I'm going back. If they helped, I'll continue forward with that map, but I'll still, until I know that I got a nice solid map again that I'm not willing to go backwards from, I'll still keep my last ones written down, but then you'll see I'll scratch them off. As soon as I know that that one is not the best option, for sure, I'll scratch it out and I'm done with it. So that's kind of how I do that. So I am changing some things right now. I'm going to change it before we get out there and want to run a log, because I'm a big fan of letting the ECU kind of relearn first before we start powering on it. And it does translate into better logs too. We'll let it run maybe 10 miles. It's 18 degrees out, so I'm not worried about heat soak. I'll putt around when we go to Wawa and shit, so definitely not worried about heat soak today. This is the coldest day I've felt all winter. And then by doing this too, you know, eventually your car is going to get heat soaked, so you can't do too many runs in one day, unfortunately. It's a good way to remember where you were at and what you were doing. I just changed what I was going to change. 4,500, 5,000, 5,500 is kind of where I'm seeing a little bit of weirdness. I'm trying to iron that out without knowing how I go through the JB4 log still. Basically what I'm looking for is pulls and timing and any corrections. Now, the timing corrections or timing pull is not always necessarily because you're running too much boost. It can also have to do with how the boost is coming on and how your car is basically adjusting for that. So when you get So what your car does is when you're laying into boost, when it hits your target boost, it basically it pulls the throttle to keep it at that boost level, to not let it spike. But if you have too much of an increase without a smooth, like basically you're hitting a wall here, you're gonna pull throttle hard. That'll cause a timing correction in itself. So I'm looking for those types of things. I'm looking for the throttle pulling, I'm looking for timing pull, and I'm looking for timing corrections from the other cylinders. So that's kind of how I go about my tunes, and I'll obviously go into a lot more depth with that when I do the actual video for how to diagnose logs and all that stuff. But for the sake of understanding what the hell I'm doing right now, that's what I'm looking for. So first, let's go get us some monsters. And yeah, don't promote Monster. It's not good for you. I know, but the bitches taste delicious. So I guess I'll have a short life. It'll be a fast life, but short. It's all right. My taste buds will love me. As you guys know, I just came back from vacation. Went down to the Shenandoah Mountains in Virginia. Took the GTI with me. Man, that thing's hella fun out there in the canyons and shit. That thing was really fun. Really lightweight. I really like the pickup it's got, and I honestly like the way that IS-20 turbo comes on, man. I really do. But one thing that is for sure is that traction is terrible. Even going around turns, you know, I really had to get used to how the turbo came on to avoid understeer when I was ripping in and out of those canyons. But so I'm not happy with the traction in the GTI. Hands down, not happy with it. I'm researching as much as I can to figure that situation out. Like I said, I did the dog bone insert. We're gonna try the 245 tires, see if they'll fit, see if that helps out a little bit. It ain't gonna be much, but it'll be a little bit. And then we're gonna do the rear sway bar. We'll stiffen up the back. We have the 034 Motorsport strut mounts going in, and then I'm thinking about doing braces for right behind the back seat, like a roll bar essentially. They're a little pricey, so I don't know if I'm gonna go that route yet. I don't know necessarily how much that's going to help me in a straight line. I'd rather get the sway bar first, because at least I know that's going to stiffen them up. And by having the back as stiff as I possibly can, we're going to limit the drag that the ASN brings to the fight there. Something I'll probably do a little differently. So with the R, when I go to race, or at least when I was attempting the record, I gutted the thing as much as I possibly could, because obviously the R hooks up and it goes. With me being at the max boost I possibly could, running ethanol and not having any slip, the only next possible route I had to get faster was to lighten the car. So I took as much as I possibly could out. Front seats, back seats, the fucking trunk shit, pretty much everything but the driver's seat and the center console was in this car, and the door paneling. I didn't take that off because that's just a bitch to put back in. But now GTI wise, it's going to be the traction issue. Everybody knows that they suffer. That's going to be the hardest, you know, hurdle to overcome in a drag. We need to address that. So what I'm thinking is, instead of gutting the entire car this time, we're gonna gut the rear of the car to keep the weight out of the back, to limit the drag. I'm gonna leave the front seat in. I might even artificially put some weight in the front to balance the car. Obviously you got me in here. I don't want to put drastic weight in here because that ain't gonna help shit. It's just gonna make too much weight. I just want to make the car level and then have a nosedive. Probably just gonna try to figure out here what the weight difference is on each side and keep the car flat as possible in a straight line, and then cause some kind of artificial dip in the front to pull weight down, because I don't have bags, which you wouldn't want to really race with bags anyway. It's not going to be optimum because of the weight, but I don't have any way of like pushing my AS end up. I don't have coilovers or anything like that. We're going to try to do it with other means. So right now I have the new speed springs on both. Obviously I haven't been to the track yet, so I'm going to see how we do after dialing in a bunch of the other suspension shit first. If push comes to shove, I might try running stiffer springs in the back as another reason to stiffen up the back and keep the drag down. So that's kind of like what we're looking at GTI wise, is we're really trying to dial in that traction over the winter. I'm not so much worried about the power, because why get more power if I can't lay it down? If I can't lay it down, I ain't fucking going nowhere. So I'm not going to be faster from more power. So we're going to try to stick. That is the main goal this winter, is sticky, sticky, sticky. Video wise, what to expect coming up next, we're going to be putting up my thoughts and comparison between the two Pro clips I got, the Pro clip mounts. So that is going to be after this vlog, and then another video to expect probably, hopefully by next week, is going to be the installation of the Zuji wrap on the GTI steering wheel. I've had that sitting around for a little bit. I'd like to get that on finally. Let me get some gas real quick. Gassed up, ready to go. I try not to run at Riggins, but I need gas, so at least it's got 93. Preferably, I always go to Sunoco or Shell. Alright, next stop, Wawa. The day started. And then we'll go do some vlogs. Oh yeah. So, videos to expect going into this next week here. Hopefully we'll get to install the APR wiper delete. The wife said she doesn't want that. She wants her wiper on the GTI, so we're going to do it on the R. Next, we're going to have the 034 Motorsport rear strut mounts. Do that install. We'll do first impressions, and then I'll probably go back. A lot of the parts I do, by the way, guys, most likely the first video is not going to be the last video on that particular piece. Speaking of that, now running this blow-off valve, I've seen performance changes in my logs that I actually favor. I like it. It's allowed me to limit something called the auto shift redux, which is a function that when changing gears, these cars, you see a spike and boost right after the gear change. This function in the JB4 limits that spike. Now, with the CTS blow-off valve, it actually, physically changed that itself, and I actually had to limit how much I let that function do it for it. So, in my mind, my theory with anything car related is the more that the mods are doing physically, and it's not artificial from the ECU, the better, because just in my mind, the more artificial intelligence kind of forcing something to happen, the less benefit that's going to get you in the long run. So the more your mods can do for you, the better. The ECU is just to make all the mods kind of function properly in sync together. So if you got good mods right from the get, your ECU doesn't have to do as much to iron out all this bullshit. So by limiting that auto shift redux, like I said, it's less artificial intelligence. The CTS blow-off valve kind of allows it to naturally go into the next gear better. And I'm assuming that's because it's not recirculating some air. So that spike is not receiving as much air during that time period to cause as much or as significant of a spike. That's my theory behind it. I'm still running logs to see if that's actually the case. It does look like it's the case. The spike is much less prominent, but I still need the auto shift altogether so that I don't get any timing corrections down low in the next gear at where it shifts at 5200. So that's where it shifts down to when you're at wide open throttle in a DSG. I'm probably planning on doing a comparison video now. I ran 27,000 miles with the Go Fast Bits diverter. I'm probably going to give this another month and then come back to it and do a comparison on what I think between the two different variations. Not necessarily the two companies, but just DV versus blow-off valve and what I've seen to have come up with as differences and what I think is better over the other. So yeah, that's another thing to expect, but that's pretty much what I'm going to do with most of the parts that I put on. I plan on going back to all of them that make sense to go back to, and doing my afterthoughts after driving with them for a period of time too. You'll get the first impressions, first drive. The reason I want to do this is because your first drive, you always have that placebo effect. You're always like, yeah, it's a new part, it feels good, it's got to feel good, right? It's a new fucking part. Not necessarily. So we're going to drive a little bit, let it settle in, let all these parts settle in, and see what we ultimately come up with later down the line. Because at that point, you'll start to see certain occurrences that might happen often, and you're like, fuck, I can't stand that shit. Like, we'll go through pretty much all my parts and go like that. So expect a lot of recurring themes parts-wise. So let's go get race fuel, and let's run logs. All right, I'm all good to go. I got a little sidetracked, had to get a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, but let's go. Let's get some logs going. My favorite part of the day. Logs. Oh, is that Subi? Oh, this motherfucker. Come on. I want to get him. Soupy. This is the one I've been chasing. This bitch. Oh, I want to race him so bad. Oh no, he's bitching out. I've been trying to race this guy for like easily 3 months now. Every time that I don't feel like racing him, like I got either A, no gas, or the one time I was literally about to pull in to get beer, he always wants to rev his engine and mess with me. I think he knows, like, alright, this ain't the time to race, he ain't gonna do it, and he'll fucking talk shit. And then every time I get up to him in the perfect situation, perfect road to do it on, he don't want none. Whatever. Typical Subi driver of Jersey. Wimp. Damn, 20 degrees out, man. It's been a good race. Unacceptable. Alright, so let's get strapped up here. This is one of the turnaround spots that I like to do my logs. It's a nice straight run. Typically, nobody gets in front of you here. Let's do it. Damn, I'm mad about that Subi, dude. I don't know when he's going to race me. I don't think I'm ever going to get to race him. Pisses me off. I'm just curious. He's Cobb tuned. I'm just curious. I don't know if he's stage 1 or stage 2. Subi's like I got a little rivalry with you know, the Civics, but you don't really see him much anymore. Like, I don't see any fun Civics anymore, man. There used to be a time like don't get me wrong, I'm not a big Civic fan, but like there used to be a time in South Jersey where like they ran the streets, man. You see nasty ones all over. Now you don't even see them. Like I don't remember last time I seen an SI anywhere. But now it's like Subi heaven down here, so I don't know. I feel some type of way about Subi drivers. I don't know. They're cocky. Around here. I'm not generalizing. These like 3 guys down here are like cocky, but they don't ever want to race. All show, no go. All right, let's do it. That's what you don't want to happen. Kick down. Kind of more of a pain in the ass running logs in a non-tuned DSG. If you give it too much oomph too early, it'll kick down, and then obviously you can't see what's happening in your lower RPMs. You want to try to get down as far as you can into the lower RPM range before you go, so you can get the best reading. So that was a shit log. That's one of those logs George be like, yeah, I'm gonna need another one. Damn it. It's one of my good spots too. So I'm gonna just go down the road a little bit, let the air outside cooler down, and then I got another spot up here. I have like logging locations around town. Certain roads I like to hit. Safe roads. All right, here's going. It's a little early though, but I don't think she's heat soaked. Yeah, it's too damn cold. Maybe she's just getting that much more power from this air. She don't usually kick down like that. Usually it's easy to control. Now I'm getting heat soaked and shit. Alright, I'm gonna come up here, one of my parking spots where I diagnose them. See if I got anything that I can go off of on these logs. We could probably still see, we'll see how the auto shift is doing, how the gear transition is, because if I wind up kicking down when I'm trying one, I usually go through 2 or 3 gears just to see how it transitions gears, because at least I can tell that much from those logs. It pisses me off though. You only get so many good runs during your day without heat soak, because then you gotta wait in between each run. It drives me nuts. It takes you like a week to dial this bitch in. So I have my spots set up so that I have like perfect parking spot locations near them, so that like I can park for a half hour, go over all my logs. I pop the hood up, let her air out, go over all my logs, figure out like, all right, this is a good. I'm cool with trying this next. I might try this road right here. I don't know if I have a long enough stretch though. And then we'll just go back out on the same spots. You can't linger though, depending on which spot I'm at. Cause I ain't trying to have the popo come up. You know what I mean? This is a movie theater we all used to come and drift at. Alright, let's see what we got here. My gear transition is looking hella nice. Let me see here, I'll show you. So, I can't really zoom in anymore, but so, can you see this? You can't see this. There you go. So, look at this. This was one of the transitions. Nice, right up to the thing here without pulling. Like, if it's a bad one, you'll see this orange line, this throttle just rip down, and you'll get a timing correction, all this bullshit. Look at this, it's perfect. This is nice and smooth all the way up. This is the best gear transition I've seen in a minute. Look at this, right up, all on my targeted curve line. The blue is actual boost, pink is my target, so all perfect right around. And even into this transition, I don't know what this little dip was here, but that is, I think this is like 5th gear at this point, so things start to get a little haywire there. But look at the timing, no pull. It's like a nice curve going up. I'm very happy with this log, so I'm curious. I'm not going to change anything. So this is one of those scenarios where this is the best I've seen in a while. I'm not going to change anything, but I do want to get a better log of my full, my full 3rd gear log that I usually get, and that's where I'm going to determine any changes that need to be made. But this is looking super sweet. I'm pumped. So let's go get her again. Let's let her cool down now. Alright, so I looked at him a little bit more. I did bump, I bumped another pound very down the line at the very top, because it did pull throttle a tiny bit at the very top. And there's obviously, with the timing, there's room for more boost there. So not that it'll actually hit the target at that point, but what I don't want is throttle pulling. I want the throttle to be 100% the whole way. And you'll feel it, like, when you get it right, and that throttle don't pull the whole time, this bitch pulls, like, she pulls. Like, you're like, oh shit, like, it's pulling. So you know when you got it right. She'll put you in your seat, and she'll keep you there. When you start logging and tuning yourself, and you're at this shit weekly, you really start to get a feel for how the car is running. You start to feel like, you start to know when something's not right, when something's off. You feel lethargic, it'll feel like it's making a lot of noise, but not applying any torque or anything. So you'll kind of get a feel for that's when you're like, gosh, something's off, I gotta look at the logs. And that'll obviously change with the weather, so. Now today is extremely cold, so, I don't know if 26 pounds is going to be the deal. But right now it's 18 degrees. It was 20 degrees during that log. So I'm afraid that, in the 40s and 50s, where would be track weather, I'm not going to be able to run 26 pounds. But, like I said, we're going to try to max this bitch out now and hope that an intercooler will maintain these tunes at that point in time. But I'm super stoked. I haven't seen a log that smooth. I don't even know how long I haven't seen a log that smooth, especially a gear transition. And I honestly don't know if I can attribute that to the blow-off valve. But like I said, I haven't seen a log that smooth, man, a long time. And when it was that smooth, I was nowhere near this boost. I was at like 23 pounds. I'm pretty happy, to say the least. Like, I want to give the blow-off valve credit, especially for the gear transitions. I got to see more. I want to make sure. But I looked at both of those logs, both of those kickdown logs, and both of those gear transitions were smooth. So, dare I say that the blow-off valve is helping? Maybe. All I know is I got to lower my auto redex because of it. And now I'm seeing smoother logs, and I'm seeing more consistency in the smoothness going up. I have not seen that solid up momentum in a very, very long time. I'm super pumped. Super pumped. So now I'm gonna go try to get those lower RPMs real quick, and hopefully call it a day on this ProTune here. So we're gonna go to my 3rd spot here. This is where I can get a good 3rd to 4th pull. I wanna make sure that gear transition is not a fluke. It's running good, man. That's the other thing too. When you have a DSG and you're doing this tuning, the pull and timing will actually cause the DSG to kind of be clunky. It doesn't like certain torque patterns and whatnot. So you'll even tell, like, when you start getting the tune right, the shifts will be butter. And that's what I'm feeling now. So I feel like I'm in a very good place with this tune. So I'm probably gonna do these lower RPMs here, see for sure if I like it, and then I'll send it over to George to get the final hearsay on whether this tune is good to go or not, and if he thinks there's anything else we can do to maybe pull out something else, which is usually what I do at the end of all my Pro Tunes. Always get George's okay at the end, because at the end of the day, I don't know as much as George, and there's no doubt about that. I'm getting better, learning a lot, but you always need a professional to give you that end-all say-all. Once I get this map dialed in, we're headed to the dyno, baby. See what she's putting down. I'll have to go grab ethanol this week. Have some fun. This thing kicks down again, I'm pissed. Sketchy one. Sketchy. Felt good though. Oh, that felt good. No kick down. I didn't get to lay in as much as I wanted down low, but that should be okay. Little log there. Fucking right, dude. Nice. Nice. I'm not getting up to my target though. That looked good though, man. Alright, so I just got one of these logs that I consider what the fuck. Basically, my what the fuck logs are when throttle doesn't really pull the entire time, and timing doesn't pull, and everything looks good, but I'm not hitting my target boost, and it's a head scratcher. It's like, ah, it's perfect, the band's perfect, why are you not getting up to the target? This is like that one occurrence that I'm probably gonna have to call on George for this one. I might stick with this tune here for the day, send it over to George, and see what Georgie says. That one's got me scratching my head. I might be able to figure this one out. I think I see the issue. So with these logs and having a DSG and with the kick down, and not having a DSG tune. When you have a DSG tune, you have true manual mode, which means you can stay in the gear no matter how much throttle's applied, and you can get real low down in the RPM and run throughout the whole gear, and obviously get a much more optimum log and really get to see how the car is behaving throughout the whole curve. With the DSG like it is on my car, I can really only see from 3 grand up while at open throttle, because if I punch it before then, I get the kick down like you saw it twice. The problem with that is the boost does not go up in the same curve that it would if I was able to punch it from a lower RPM, which is not a bad thing necessarily when you talk about racing, because you're launching, so you're already at like 3 grand anyway, and when you shift at wide open throttle into the next gear, if you wind out the whole gear, you shift down to the 52-50 range. So getting those lower RPMs are really just for the smoothest of the tune during the daily driving. So it's not necessarily going to hurt me, but it causes tuning those first, because you want your power band to go the right way, because if it doesn't, you're going to get a real strict pull in time or throttle, and it's going to cause timing corrections, or you're not going to hit your target boost, which is what occurred here. But I think I see the little culprit that did it. Looks like right at 4,000 RPMs, I gotta just bump it maybe a half pound just to smooth out my target, so that it doesn't want to pull the throttle a little bit in this one spot. So now I'm headed to spot number 5. Basically, I have like a route I do. Now I'm gonna get on the actual highway. There's an exit that has a circle that swings right back around to the entrance. But I'm gonna park first, and I wanna write down where we're at, because I really like this log. So when I really like a log, like I said, I write that down and I keep that in my book. And then now I'll probably keep this as my optimum log as of late. So I'll cross out all the other ones, and this will be my backbone map now. You definitely want to write those down when you get the good logs. Definitely want to have a notebook if you're pro tuning yourself. Another thing to get in the good habit of doing is when you do find a good log like this, save the configuration, and then when I save my configurations as a reminder, I'll usually put, you know, like the temperature it was out. So I'll put 20 degrees, 20 degrees, and then I'll put the peak boost. So 20 degrees, 26 peak, and I'll save it. When I get, I'll do daily driving logs like in the summer because I don't like to drive around with too high a boost because, you know, you're getting heat soaked quicker, and sometimes you're just daily driving, you don't think about it, you get into it, and it might be throwing a lot of corrections, which you don't want anything detrimental to happen. You don't want to pop the EPC light, that's a bitch, especially when you're in the middle of traffic. So I'll do like a lower map, and then I'll name it like daily map, daily pump, or daily with ethanol, whatever. You know, you always want to know which map is correct to run, depending on your conditions outside. So as with all my spots, I have a nice lot right here I can park in at the shopping center. In just one setting, let her cool down for a minute, and we'll do one last log here. I'll get one more good one, and we'll see if this little change I'm about to make is gonna be worse or better. If it's better, I'm sending the log to George. If it's worse, I'll revert back to this. I'll send this log to George and see what we can do to reach my target. It's boosting weather, baby. This is boosting weather. Me and my wife always say that whenever you're like 60 degrees and below, consider that boosting weather. This is like major boosting weather. This guy's retarded. This guy just did a 26-point turn to get out of a parking spot. Black ice out, we gotta be careful of that. Alright, let me take a look. Give her one last go here. So on the initial acceleration, around 3,500 RPMs, I had it set at 21.5 pounds. But then the next rung up was 23.5 pounds. And it looks like the drastic change just caused the throttle to pull at 3,500 and just didn't give it enough time to get up to target again. Basically the turbo couldn't spool that rate in that spot with that much throttle pull at 3,500. So I bumped up 3,500, 22.5 instead of 21.5, and then I took $3,000 and I bumped it up a half a pound. It's very hard to make one RPM change without it affecting something else. I'm starting to get used to what's going to affect what in what way. That's why I also upped $3,000. So let's see. Not liking this. Compare that to the last one. The band's smoother. I'm still not hitting target though. I don't think I'm at that point of head scratching now. I gotta see which one was better, and then we'll send that over to George. See what he thinks. 'Tis the world of tuning. Trial and error. Trial and error. Trial and error. I'm starting to get frustrated. Taking too long to dial this in. You always seem like you're gonna get it, and then you make a tiny change to correct one thing and it throws something else off. Very, very frustrating. I think my last one was a little bit better, so I'm probably gonna send that one to him and see what's up. Damn, man. Thought today was gonna be the day. Oh well. Still fun to go out and log and ripping around. Alright guys, this concludes this vlog. Stay tuned for what's next. If you like what you see, like what you hear coming up, please subscribe. Please share. Let your buddies know, all your VW friends, all your Mark 7 friends especially. You know, let's build this channel. You know, a lot of you guys on YouTube are seeing me for the first time. I've been doing this for about a year now, a little over a year now. Started off just taking pictures on Instagram, and it's skyrocketed into a pretty big VW Audi following community. So we want to go fast on Instagram, so that's where a lot of my reputation comes from. So since we're new to YouTube, you know, I'll do an official introduction video, let you know a little bit about myself and how I came to be doing all this. And you know, I just feel it's necessary for you guys to know my background, and I'm not just some dude talking to you who's got an MK7. Peace out, guys, and always keep on dubbing.
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing the real flames in the fire that keeps burning.